Huge Aquaman fan? The new trailer just dropped? Let's give it a look. All right, I'm going to just take pieces of it and kind of watch it as we go. But I am a huge Aquaman fan. Of course, the original Aquaman uh, that really didn't. The character, as far as I'm concerned, has never been seen on screen. Even when it comes to the animated series stuff that DC has done, they did Batman well, they did Superman well, but Aquaman has never really been done well. In the 70s, that's about as close as we got to the actual Aquaman character. Ever since then, he's been labeled as a joke with, what was it, Robot Chicken. He was the joke of the DC universe. And then we finally got a movie, and we saw the Justice League, and Jason Momoa was playing him. I'm like, first of all, Aquaman is blonde, and he's got short hair, and he's clean cut. And then all of a sudden we saw Jason Momoa, and he's, I think the name term for him was Aqua Bro. So he completely altered the character. And this is after, so originally, Aquaman and Mera, because they're the power couple. You can see them behind me. To me, they're the power couple. Okay, they're the power couple of the DC universe, because even if you count Lois and Clark, Lois doesn't go into battle. So she's off to the side collecting information for him a lot of times. But, or she's just staying home with the kids nowadays, but they were the two that went into battle with one another. They were king and queen. They were the couple. And you can't have one without the other. I mean, even as far as the early 60s, they were always together. And, she had fins for feet back in the day. But for the most part, she hasn't changed. This is actually one of my favorite books. I really want to get it covered with plastic so I don't mess it up. But it is one of my favorite books of all time. And it's written by Paul Lovitz. Paul Lovitz, not John Lovitz. And this is, and I don't know if this is where they're going to go with it, because this is very dark. Even though this was in the 70s, this was very dark because they had a child, just like they have in this, and he's killed. Black Manta kills him with the help of some other creatures and stuff like that, but he's killed. And it kind of wrecks their marriage and things like that, of course. And they kind of separate for a period of time, where he's going off to try to get revenge, and she's, trying to keep Atlantis together now that the heir has been killed. So if you have not read this, this is really, really good stuff. And it's, of course, like you said, it's the artwork is very, very old school. But then in the early 90s, but you can see that Mera and Aquaman have never changed. I mean, their costumes are exactly the same as they were back in the day, except that, sometimes you see her without sleeves and sometimes she has sleeves, but the crown is always the same and stuff to that effect. But, Aqualad then joined them later on as his sidekick and things to that effect. But he always had the kingdom, was always there from the very beginning. He was always king of Atlantis, which is why Momoa's interpretation of that character is so off, because Aquaman was bred to be a king from the beginning. Yes, he was, a human and an Atlantean, were both his parents. That's always been true. But he was always led to be king, and he was a strategist. Okay, he was a strategist. Kind of a dick sometimes because he's kind of uppity because he's a king. But that's why I always disliked the name Arthur, because obviously they took it from King Arthur, and I kind of wished it was something else. But uh, then they cut off his hand in like the early 90s, and they gave him a beard, and I didn't like it as much. I liked the more the clean cut, the Justice Friends or the Super Friends, where he was riding the seahorse and all that stuff. That was, I always loved that. I always, like, when I was in the pool, I always pretend I was Aquaman and my seahorse and all that shit. But I grew up on that character, and to me he was never a joke. To me, he could whoop anybody's butt. He can stand against Superman. So to me, even though he was out of the water, in the water he was unbeatable. Out of the water, he was still, a force to be reckoned with, and he was smart. That's why when you came to Jason Momoa playing him, Mara called him stupid at least 3 or 4 times. You don't ever call Aquaman stupid. He will whoop you. You want to see how smart I am? All right. But anyway, so I know that the whole thing about Amber Heard being in the film, people are pissed off. But I can separate. Their personal lives from the actor. She's already off anything else. Her career is already over. By destroying the film, what are you really doing? You're not destroying her anymore. She's already destroyed. She's not going to work in Hollywood again. So, boycotting her is irrelevant. It was kind of like boycotting Ezra Miller. It's already over. There's nothing. You can't squish a bug any further into the ground once he's dead. I mean, it is. And again, they did something in their personal lives. Ezra Miller, the same thing. And I liked The Flash for the most part, and I agree with everyone on everything that they said. I don't know why they put 2 of them in there, because the one, he actually was serious, and the other one was just annoying. I like the Batman and Supergirl stuff. That's really what the parts in The Flash I really liked. Ezra Miller, I've never really cared for as an actor. But Amber Heard's done some decent stuff. Drive Angry was one of her first things, and things to that effect. So I don't dislike Amber Heard. I know she's in a real life. You never want to get into a relationship with her. As most of everybody has found out, from Elon Musk all the way to Johnny Depp. But that's one thing. And then, Brie Larson opened her mouth a few times, and she just comes off, as dislikable, but I still like Captain Marvel. Now, when it comes to Rachel Zegler, that's a whole other story, because she's actually destroying her own character and commenting on her own character that she's playing. And then on top of that, she's also commenting on her cast members. There's just nothing redeemable about her. But everybody else, what they do in their real life, what do they do on screen? It's 2 different things. So I'm okay with Amber Heard, and in fact, if they cut her out completely, it doesn't make any sense, because, of course, she's the mother of the baby, which may or may not be killed, depending how close, they come to this book. So, and then the New 52 book that Jeff Johns put his hand back on and revitalized the character more like this. That was New 52 stuff. New Rebirth stuff was awesome. And they really, Aquaman finally came back to how he was. And then, of course, we got Jason Momoa. But I really liked the first movie. I was boycotting it because I hate Jason Momoa in that role. I just could not stand him in that role when I watched the pieces of Justice League and things to that effect. So I said, okay, I'm not going to pay for the film. I bought a ticket for something else, and I walked into Aquaman. And I said, I'm not going to support this thing. But despite, not because of, despite Jason Momoa, I really liked the movie. And that's because James Wan understood the character. He got it. He understood the world. He understood the character. He understood the relationship between the characters. He understood the origin story. And he was stuck with Momoa. That made no sense, because I mean, I could see Zack Snyder going, "Oh my God, he's got tattoos! Can't you just imagine Aquaman with tattoos? I'll even give the tattoos to the dad." Blah blah blah. And come on, man, the Aquaman takes an RPG to the chest and stands back up without any scratches. So he just took shrapnel to his chest and brushed it off. So if that's the case, and his skin is impenetrable, which it should be because he's underwater, how do you give him tattoos? Answer me that question. How do you give him tattoos? Anyone? Anyone? No, because you gotta have a needle, right? You use a needle to give people tattoos. How do you get a needle into impenetrable skin? You can't. So the whole thing was just stupid. But that was Zack Snyder. That's why Zack Snyder's Justice League is crap, no matter what anybody says. And he just didn't understand. Zack Snyder didn't get it. But James Wan does. And that's why I love the world building that he did for that first Aquaman movie. I loved. And to see Black Manta in real life, I loved it. I loved all that. So despite Momoa, who is on and off as far as his acting is concerned, he's pretty much a one-note wonder, which is why I kind of liked him in Fast X. At least we got to see a little bit of a twist to what he can normally do. And but for the most part, he can only play one role, which is why everybody's saying he needs to play Lobo, because that's him. I mean, he's basically playing himself. So we have Aquabro again, and I'm a huge. I think that Patrick Wilson would have made a better Aquaman than Jason Momoa. But let's just put the cat out of the bag here, because I know, I'm not stupid. I know exactly why Aquaman made $1.3 billion. And nothing to do with Aquaman. And nothing to do with the world building or anything else. It's because Momoa took his shirt off. I mean, it's as simple as that. All the women went to see him because he was in Game of Thrones and because he was taking his shirt off. That's it. They have the hots for him, and that's why they're going to see the movie. They don't give it. He can never say a word, and all the women will go see it anyway. And I don't know if he's kind of fallen off that mountain that he's been on as far as women is concerned. If he is, then the movie's not going to do as well. If he still does well with women, because, again, he was also in Fast X, and Fast X didn't do as well as it normally did. I think it still hit 700, but the budget was too high. 700 is kind of what Fast Furious normally do. But here, I think the budget ballooned up. I think I have to look at what the budget is, but I think it's still like in that 250 range, which means it needs to make $600-700 million to break even, because I know there was a lot of reshoots. So the question is, how close are they going to get to the original story? The original story did not have the black trident in it. That's the first time I've ever heard that. And I've read a lot of Aquaman stuff. A lot of Aquaman stuff. In fact, it's not even... he's such an off-kilter character that he doesn't even have a book right now. There is no ongoing... If you went to the comic shop right now and said, give me the newest Aquaman, they wouldn't be able to give it to you. Because there is none. We got some woke people in there that ended up writing him and destroying it. They ended up destroying the monarchy. I forgot who it was. That there was a female writer that came in and said, there's no more monarchy. We're going to make it a republic now. And Mera was queen. Aquaman was in exile or something. I don't know what the hell. Then they did some really bad little shorts, like little miniseries with the Aquaman and Flash with Void, and that was crap. Then they did another one where Aquaman and Green Lantern changed bodies. Green Arrow. That was bad. So, and then they did some kind of a black label thing I didn't even pick up because it didn't look like him. So anyway, Aquaman in the comics is gone. He doesn't even exist at this point. He's not even mentioned anywhere. So I would love to write for that character. I love Atlantean characters, which is also why I didn't go see Black Panther, because of what they did to Namor. Or Namor. Yeah, break. Get out of here with that. So I mean, he wasn't. That was not Namor, and that's why they changed the name to say, well, he's not really Namor. We're taking liberties. That's why Namor. Namor. Come on, man, get off it. So we've never even seen the Submariner on screen yet. So anyway, I'm looking forward to the film. I'm hoping that James Wan can pull it again. I, and I'm just gonna have to get used to Momoa playing the heavy dope idiot, and having Orm come in, and the buddy thing with two brothers. I know everybody's comparing it to Love and Thunder and Ragnarok with Loki and Thor, but I'm okay with that. If they have, but and again, you have Orm, Ocean Master, is going to call him stupid. He thinks he's stupid. He's like already the in the trailer you see him say, "How could this happen?" And he's like, "I'm not that great a king, man." What? That's not Aquaman. Aquaman is a great king. So they're taking way liberties with the character to slot him in to the Momoa stupidity or Aquabro. So I hope this is the last one with him. It's too bad Patrick Wilson didn't play Aquaman. That would have been a lot. I think that would have been a lot better. But they're slipping into the comedy again because they're using Momoa's stupidity. So anyway, looking forward to it. But I know, again, I had no problem with the Flash, even though with the Flash's effects, even though I agree with everyone that the effects were bad. I agree completely. But I can look past that stuff because I'm a child of the 90s and the 80s, and some of those effects were god horrible, and I still got through it. So this looks like it's another one where some of the effects are okay and some of the effects are really bad, and which is not great because I thought the effects of the first movie were pretty decent. I didn't see any real issue. The fight between them and Atlantis was really good. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. And I like the fact that Nicole Kidman is returning as Atlanta. So that first scene in the first movie was fantastic with her fight. So yeah, that's why I go see Aquaman. It's because I love the underwater stuff and I love the different kind of fight stuff with the tridents, and I love all that stuff. And Mara's manipulation of water, she's one of my favorite characters. And to have her removed, even if it's Amber Heard, don't don't remove her. Just roll with it. And that's why they couldn't remove her completely, because she's so integral to the Aquaman. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope I like it. I am going to go see it. I'm not going to boycott it like the last one, and I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed. But yeah, I've had these figures forever, and they're some of my favorites, and I just moved them too. So, but anyway, so yeah, that's it for me. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up or the middle finger, whatever you feel comfortable with. And let me punch my own stuff real quick. So this is my I'm an award-winning screenwriter and producer as well. So I kind of come from that background. But this is my latest novel, Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch. It's a fantasy novel with plenty of different cultures that are going to be fighting the big baddie. And then we have my sci-fi, Destiny Aurora. This is the adaptation of the first novel. There is 4 novels, an RPG, and a board game, and there's plenty of action in it, and aliens and robots and all the good stuff. And Lords of LA, my vampire mob in the 50s, of which we're going to be launching the new Kickstarter for the sequel to this. So look for that soon. And on top of that, if you haven't read this book, but I have another Aquaman one from Rebirth that I love. And if you haven't read that by Jeff Johns, that's a really good one. That's what had the trench in it. He created the trench from the first movie. They did a really good job with those. Anyway, have a great rest of your weekend, and I will have additional videos. I should probably lean this way. Additional videos over here at the end. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Remember, thumbs up, subscribe, all the good stuff. Later.